Hello and welcome to Reality Recapped, where I recap all of the trashiest reality shows. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Heather. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, and it's through that lens that I watch these shows and make my comments. Of course, I have not met with any of the people on this show, so everything that I state is simply an opinion. My channel is a little bit of education and a whole lot of snark. This week, I'm recapping Sister Wives Season 18, Episode 5, When the Going Gets Tough. So just to fill you guys in, I'm redoing this episode after getting a copyright claim on last week's episode. You know, the one where I was doing a lot of the voices? But I had maybe 12 clips spread out over an hour and 40 minutes or hour 30 minutes. And these clips weren't long. They were reasonably sized. They were, to give you a reference, they were the size of Kody's heart, and the video was the size of his ego. So for me, proportionately, it felt fair, as in fair use, no copyright claim. However, after I posted it, it cleared, and then today, the 19th, which was 5 days after I posted it, they put a claim on it. So this is not a strike. I'm not in danger of losing my channel, which I'm very grateful for because I do love doing this and I want to keep doing it. But the reason why I'm talking right now to you is because I'm explaining I am not going to put in clips in this episode. I don't know what I'm going to do moving forward. I'm going to keep doing the videos. Dealing with the copyright stuff is really difficult. It's like you finished finals and then your professor hands your paper back and is like, I'm sorry, you need to start again. That's how it feels every time this happens. So I thank everybody for your really kind comments on my community post where I kind of explained what was going on. You guys are hilarious. I love you all. Thank you so much for being so supportive and cheering me on and encouraging me to keep going. And I will do that. So thank you. And now let's get into the episode with me acting more than that I was ever meant to. The episode opens at Janelle's apartment. Janelle begins to talk about the huge fight Kody and she had before Christmas. She says it's the biggest fight that maybe we've ever had. And she doesn't know what the fight means yet, only that it's significant. She hasn't spoken to anyone about it. Didn't you say last episode you told your kids about the fight? I can only handle 2 unreliable narrators at one time, Janelle, so get it together. Come on. Janelle says she knows her place is small, but she needed some more furniture, so she called Christine to see where she got her beanbags. Then they cut to Christine, who is rolling this very large beanbag wrapped completely in plastic wrap, and she's like, I bought these beanbags a long time ago with Kody, and I never really liked these beanbags. So when Janelle said she wanted beanbags, I was like, I'm going to bring you a beanbag. So she wrapped it in all this plastic and shoved it in her car and then drove to Flagstaff to give her this beanbag. TLC, you don't have to keep coming up with these lame excuses for Christine just to stop by. Remember, the first excuse was to help Janelle build a bookshelf, and then it was to help her put her Christmas tree together. We do know that they're friends and basically family, so don't feel like you need to come up with reasons why Christine has to come over. You can just say, Christine wants to come over, or Christine stopped by. There doesn't have to be a reason. Janelle says Christine and her relationship was always pretty good, but it was rocky because of the jealousy, because of the comparison. But, now with all of that removed, they get along really well. Christine announces she has an idea. She lives in a townhouse and her neighbor wants to move out. And she thinks that it would be really great if Janelle wanted to move in. Janelle says, if Savannah wasn't still finishing up school, I would come. Yeah. In her confessional, Janelle says there's a billion thoughts running through her head. She's attached to Flagstaff and the life she has there, but part of her thinks it would be fun to live next to Christine. Janelle says divorce is uncommon in plural marriage. Janelle tells us it takes a lot to get an actual We call it a release. So it's not like I'm going to get a release overnight. Oh, I know what you're thinking. There is some low-hanging fruit here. Is Heather going to make some sexual innuendos about how she's not surprised Janelle is having difficulty getting a release from Kody? No, Heather would never, ever do that. Hey, if you like this video so far, you please give me a thumbs up. It helps the algorithm know that people enjoy this video and it will show it to other people, and you can help me make my channel grow. And now back to Sister Wives. Janelle says, well, she won't get her release. We understand, Janelle, we know. She could just live separately, and she has considered plugging back into the church in Utah or a religious community. But she says she's really conflicted because she's so attached to Flagstaff, so she doesn't know right now. Janelle says she's talked to Kody one time in the last couple of days, and before that, it was Christmas time. They asked Savannah when she last talked to her dad. She says she hasn't spoken to him since her birthday, which was early December, and it's now mid-January. He didn't give her any presents. He didn't call her. Nothing from Kody. Christine in her confessional says this is his pattern. He's ignoring them. Why are they staying here? This reminds me of the reason that she said she took Truly out of Flagstaff. She said that Truly was young enough that she wasn't fully aware of how absent Kody actually was, and she wanted to remove Truly before this situation became apparent to her and before she became aware of it. Christine says she is so angry. Christine says, I was so mad and I'm so frustrated at this whole situation. I don't think Kody understands how easy and how simple it would be to fix this situation. Call your children. Christine says all he would need to do is to reach out to Savannah, to call her, to send her presents, to engage with her. He lives in the same city as she does. Kody says Christine and Janelle have banded together in this, and they have shattered his world. Yeah, ladies, why didn't you just take the mistreatment, financial abuse, and alienation like Meri has? Kody tells us he's been separated from his children because the women have kicked him out of their house, so he doesn't have access to them. He hasn't had the emotional fortitude, yep, his words, to be able to reach out, not even knowing what to do or say. And hey, the phone goes both ways, he says. The kids can always call me. He says he'll reach out to Savannah and bring her Christmas. I mean, it'll be late, but eventually that'll happen. He is such a jerk. You are punishing your innocent daughter to hurt your wife. Savannah has done nothing to you, and how you are deciding to handle all of this will forever change the way she sees you. Christine asks Savannah how she's doing, and Savannah says she doesn't really know. At first she was really sad, and now she's really angry. Okay, this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but if Savannah was my child, I would not want her to be filmed talking about the relationship with her father. I understand that Kody is terrible, but nothing good is going to come from Savannah stating how she is feeling on television. She absolutely has the right to feel how she does. I think we all understand how hurt and angry she would be. But if I'm Janelle, my goal is to shield my child while she's going through this. Losing your parent is one thing. Being filmed about losing your parent while you're going through it is on another level. There are plenty of adult kids that can provide consent to film, and I would prefer that they were the ones speaking about what they're going through rather than it being an underage child. Janelle said there were no gifts at Christmas for Savannah, and that floored her. He didn't even send a gift home with Truly, Isabel, and McKelty back to the vacation rental for Savannah. Christine apologizes that Savannah's going through that, and she says, when I speak to Kody, he seems very different. Savannah says, and all of a sudden it seemed like just something switched with Dad. Christine shrugs and says, well, you just have to hope that it just switches back then again. Look, I understand Christine doesn't always know how to say things. I know she knows that Savannah's in a lot of pain. I know she feels a lot of empathy for that. I know she's seen her kids go through the same thing. But why are you giving her false hope? And why are you saying that? Because the likelihood that Kody's going to quote unquote snap out of it. And The face that Savannah makes when Christine says this in response is really quick, but it really embodies where Savannah is. Savannah knows that is just the craziest thing to say, that he's not going to just snap out of it. She knows who her dad is and she's accepting who he is, and she's not holding out hope that he's going to change. In her confessional, Christine says, I remember what it was like for so long being married to him and not feeling any hope and not feeling like, and she trails off. And then she says, I don't like seeing it happen to Janelle, and it's happening all over again. Is he going to leave everybody but Robyn? We then cut to Meri's house, where Meri is out shoveling her driveway. Robyn drives by and shouts. Robyn drives by Meri in her van and yells out, work it. Why don't you work it, you dumb bee? You've been living off of everybody. You're literally laughing as you drive past Meri. I'm sure she's thinking, ha ha ha, I have a husband who shovels my driveway. Too bad Meri doesn't. Robyn and Meri sit down outside Meri's house. I think Meri has finally said, look, if we're going to film outside, we're going to do it at my house where at least I can light a frickin' fire. Robyn tells Meri, Christmas was crazy. In her confessional, Robyn says, Christmas was tragic for her. Oh, did your dad maybe ignore you and not buy you presents like Savanah? Robyn says she really wished Kody would have been able to work it out with the boys so they could all have Christmas together. Christine says they didn't get together for Christmas because there was an obvious... Uh-oh, it's snoring time. Let me see if I can catch him for you guys. Let's see. If I get up, he's probably going to wake up, but maybe I can catch him. Let's see. He is really difficult to catch snoring. I've tried many times and he wakes up as soon as I get up. But this is him awake and probably harassing me for something, like a treat. Just know if you hear snoring, it's this cute little guy here. Okay, back to Sister Wives. So Christine rehashes kind of the text chain fight. So initially, Robyn said that her children didn't want to do the gift exchange anymore. And then Christine tells us a few days after the fight, Robyn and Kody told the adults they didn't feel safe doing the sibling exchange anymore. So then we cut to Robyn in her confessional. I wanted them at my house. I wanted to spend Christmas together, but I didn't want to watch a fight go down between Kody and the boys. I didn't think that'd be fair to anybody. Her demeanor is interesting. The way that she's talking, we don't normally see her talk like this. She's like, I didn't want to see a fight. It kind of has like a snotty kind of edge to it. And she's acting like she knows they're going to get into a fight. Can't you call everybody and say, hey, this is Christmas and today we're not going to fight, and have everybody, all of the adults, have that policy? I feel like if you had set that parameter and had everybody over, I think they all would have adhered to it. I do. And maybe it wouldn't have been perfect. Maybe there would have been a few little grumblings. But I think in the long run, it's better to have everybody together and maybe have a little bit of a disagreement or an argument than to have him completely ice everybody out. Christine says they didn't get together for Christmas because at the end of this fight, there was an obvious division between the families. And I get it. Like, I understand this happened, but I feel like because we saw the preview and then we saw it happen and now we're rehashing, I feel like I am stuck in Christmas hell right now. We go back to Robyn and Meri at Meri's house, and Robyn tells Meri, Isabel, Truly, and McKelty came over after Christmas to celebrate Christmas. Meri looks shocked and replies, I didn't even know Isabel was in town. And Robyn says, yeah, there's not a lot of communication. And Meri says, I know. And Meri looks pissed. It stings. It's sad. It's hurtful. I don't honestly know why Robyn is telling me this. Oh, because she doesn't care about you at all, Meri. She is not a friend to you. I think you're a pawn to her. She wants you around. You do bring money into the family. You have been completely ignored for years. And there's no reason why you should feel like you need to stay there. Only so that Robyn can what? Have more money coming in, and then she can openly laugh at you when you're scraping your own driveway. And she's like, get to work. Oh, man. I just felt like I was just kind of, going with what everybody else wanted. It's weird. It's really, really weird. In her confessional, Robyn says, it's hard because I'm sitting here talking to her and like, I thought she just knew about it and I feel really bad, but it's frustrating because I couldn't control it. I didn't get to decide. So, oh, Robyn, we don't really believe that you're not in control because you seem to be in control in every single situation. So what I'm wondering is, did Mykelti say, I don't want Meri there? Because we know that Meri and Mykelti, or actually we should say Mykelti doesn't care for Meri and that Mykelti doesn't want Meri around her children. Is that why Meri wasn't invited? But why is Robyn telling her all of this? And notice she didn't say, you know how the girls came over and celebrated a late Christmas, right? No, she told her it happened. She knew that Meri didn't know. Why is Robyn telling Meri this information? What is her agenda with that? To make her feel more out of the family? Because I don't think she needs any more of that. Then we cut to Kody, who says he and Meri don't function like a married couple. He says they function better as friends. Friends don't ignore one another, Kody. Friends want their other friends to be happy and included in family events. Then we cut back to Robyn, who says she's just trying to understand. You're trying to understand it. Like, I'm trying to digest. Like, I'm trying to understand why with Christine leaving, I'm trying to understand the decisions that were made through COVID. Like, what is this? This isn't our family. And then Meri's like, nah, it's not. Actually, this is your family. I don't understand why you're having such a hard time understanding why Christine left. Robyn's feigned confusion is definitely a way to manipulate. And so I'm going to kind of go through what she's doing here and then explain how this is a way for her to not have any responsibility in what happens. Kody said, well, COVID has just revealed the real us. And I'm like, oh, so the 30 years before that was just a big lie? Robyn says, I don't know. You tell me. I've only been here for part of it. Oh my God, Robyn, you've been there for 12 years. You didn't just stumble into this family like a few months ago and you need them to piece everything together for you. Robyn says that when she first came into the family, she saw what she thought was a fairly cohesive family. And they now talk like it was so bad. And I'm like, well, what didn't I see that I'm so confused? To Meri, Robyn says, I'm trying to understand, like, he's talking about years and years ago. There were issues with Christine from the very beginning. And Meri says, well, if you're going to say that about Christine, you're going to say that about me too. And look at where he and I are. In her confessional, Meri says, not one of them is perfect. There were issues in the early years. There were a lot of hiccups and emotion, but she thought that they didn't do too bad of a job. We cut to Christine, who says, we made it work because we love the idea of our family. We love the idea of 4 adults raising all of these kids together as brothers and sisters. And they were focused on the big family unit. Janelle says when they went public, there was a lot of pressure on the family and there was a new relationship and it was all shiny and new. And it never really settled the same way as what they had done for the first 15, 16, 17 years of their marriage. Christine says, we kept trying and we were yearning for that family unit, but it just felt different. We cut back to Janelle's house where Christine asks about their marriage. Janelle says, I really just don't know. If we're going to have to remake everything, I'm going to need it to be different. And I'm not even sure that I'm really interested. In her confessional, Janelle says, all I know is that I'm not going back to what we had before. She realized that she coasted over a lot of things that were problematic for her. Her children felt that there was so much favoritism and inequality in time and resources towards Robyn. And she was always fine with it. She was really fine, she says. But now, going back into a relationship, starting new, I wouldn't do that. I would want to feel like we were truly more of a couple. We cut back to Kody in his confessional. He says so many family members are trying to act like COVID, the experience with COVID, like some kind of favoritism I've given to Robyn, time I've spent with Robyn has been like the past 10 years. And that's just a lie. That's just a self-deception. Kody says until COVID, he was regular with his schedule. He was seeing his family. Everything was intact. Then we go back to Janelle, and she tells us she still has her religious beliefs, so she can't just say, okay, well, I'm just going to find somebody else. That doesn't work for me. Christine asks if Janelle still believes in plural marriage and if that's something she would want to live again. And Janelle says she would definitely be open to it. And then we cut to Christine in her confessional who says, hey, she is who she is today because she did plural marriage and she honors the people that choose to live plural marriage, but she still has a hard time wrapping her mind around why. And Christine has now become all of us for the most part. Like, why are you guys doing this to yourselves? Why are you entering in this contract that you're already at a deficit? If there's only 2 wives, you get your husband half the time. The more wives, your time gets sectioned off. You're competing for resources, for time, for energy, for emotional connection, for care for your children. Like, it just doesn't seem like competing in that way is good for people. And again, it's not good for the men either. Janelle says she doesn't really believe that she can have a divorce. But she says at this point, her and Kody are separate. They haven't talked. She hasn't seen him. And to her, that means that they're separated, though they haven't actually said those words. But they are technically undefined. And she says, we're probably still married. If my husband ignored my daughter during Christmas, didn't send any presents or acknowledge her because he was mad at me and my boys, that would be the only reason I would need to say divorce out loud 4 times. Divorce, 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 divorce. And poof, I would be divorced. Of course, I don't have the same religious beliefs as Janelle. But as a mom, how can you see your husband treat your children like that and not divorce him? I don't understand that. I really don't. That tells you everything you would ever need to know about someone's character. I don't know. It was weird because Kody was he was too attentive. Robyn is he was too attentive to, and then together, Meri and Robyn say at the same time to Christine. Okay, I see. You guys are, I guess Robyn thought that maybe Meri forgot her line. So Meri can see when Christine is getting better treatment. Why can't she see when Robyn is getting better treatment? Meri tells a horrible story about when they were in one Christmas when they were living in Wyoming. This is very early on in their lives. Kody gave a ton of gifts to Christine, and he did not give a thing to Meri. Robyn makes this face, and I think this is going to be my new screenshot for the rest of this episode. Meri says, after all the presents were given out, Janelle said, hey, I think we have something in my room for Meri. And Kody came out with an unwrapped hoodie and gave it to Meri. We cut back to Kody, who, unsurprisingly, doesn't even remember that. But he says, that's the place where sometimes resentments build. You think? So this illustrates that Kody has always had an issue with favoritism to one and ignoring another. But this also flies in the face of what Kody has said, that he was never attracted to Christine, that she was disgusting, that she was chubby, she liked to eat nachos at a van in the morning, and it really bothered him. So he really sounds like he really, really liked Christine. And it looks like they're trying to lay the groundwork of Christine used to be the favorite wife. And she didn't have a problem with it. And now she does because Robyn's the new favorite. I think Robyn is relieved. The only favoritism Meri is bringing up is to Christine, and it's in the past. Christine talks about Christmas and says she told Kody to get something for Meri. Kody told her, but you got Meri a gift card. Christine's like, yeah, no, you have to, as her husband, see, you have to get her your own gift. Meri leans in and says, I have a secret. This was before you came into the picture. So a long time ago, she kept telling Kody that he wasn't spending time with her. And Kody was like, oh, you're crazy. I'm spending the exact same time here as I am everywhere else. So she decided to track it. Not where he was, of course, because that wouldn't be appropriate apparently. But when he was at her house, she would track when he was there. And it turned out that he was spending less than 1/3 of time at Meri's house. She said the only thing that it did was it made Meri mad. It didn't solve anything. Robyn says, it's funny you have that secret because I have the same secret. There was like a month or two in Vegas where I didn't see Kody very much, and I began keeping track. Christine was saying Kody never spent time at her house. And Robyn said that she felt like he wasn't really around her. So she started tracking it. And yeah, he wasn't with her as much. I took a month where I was with Christine in Las Vegas. I stayed at her house for like 25 days out of the month. I had 3 other wives complaining, but she quit complaining. And I said, I'm just testing something, but I want to see if this person is going to be happy. And it worked. But it was like the other wives got 1 day, 2 days out of a month. It was ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous that you're playing around with your wives as if you're conducting some sort of experiment. Why would you ever ignore 3 out of your 4 wives just to do a little test and see if this other wife is going to be happy if you give her more time or the same time you're giving Robyn? Like, that is messed up. It just goes to show you that Kody doesn't really care about anybody. He's more concerned with himself. He does whatever he wants. He really preferred Robyn then, and he basically hung out at Christine's house to try to prove a point. How immature are you, sir? Christine says there was a month where Kody was with her more, and she thought he was finally balancing out his schedule, and she thought it was awesome. And then it went right back to where they didn't really see him that often. It was only in the evenings, and he just preferred to be over at Robyn's house the rest of the time. So I think what these two are actually doing and what they're talking about is pretty snide. I think what they're saying here, without actually saying it, is that Christine used to benefit from the favoritism that Robyn now enjoys. When Robyn came into the family, Christine lost that favoritism, and she didn't take it well, meaning she gave it time to kind of balance back out, and when it didn't, 12 years later, she decided to leave. I think this is a pretty solid way to try to make the viewers not like Christine as much. And to be honest, if she was getting better treatment than the other wives and was fine with it, it does make me see her in a less glowing light. Knowing you're being favored and not speaking up for the other wives is not okay. It isn't okay if you're Robyn, and it isn't okay if you're Christine. The problem here is that it's these two talking about it, and I don't really trust either one of these people. I trust Robyn significantly less than I trust Meri, but it seems like there's a little bit of an agenda happening here. So it's hard to take what they're saying as truth rather than as a spin on what's going on now. Christine says he just preferred to be at Robyn's house most of the time. For 1 month, Christine says she got him as much as Robyn got him the rest of the time. The rest of the 59 months. Because he was not at Janelle's house either, she says. And we all know he wasn't at Meri's house. Kody tells us when they were in Las Vegas, Robyn gave him an office space and space for his car. So if he was in the garage or if he was working in the office, I wasn't with Robyn. I wasn't with Robyn all the time, but somehow in their heads, they've created this world in the past where I was with Robyn all the time. And that's not true. I shared my time equally with all my wives. Robyn says they don't know what's going on at my house. What it was just an assumption. My kids struggled like crazy, feeling like Kody wasn't around. They talked about it all the time. They talked about how he was so busy with the older kids. We cut to Christine, who says he'd come over like 5 or 6 in the evening, even on the weekends. He'd only be there at like 5 or 6 in the evening. And Robyn knew Kody was over at her house more than anybody else's house. I am not going to trust someone who says they want family yet they are fine with Kody only being at their house. That is not family. That is monogamy. We cut back to Robyn at Meri's, and she's saying, I always thought she would open herself up to a relationship with me, figure that stuff out. I tried very hard to be kind with her. In her confessional, Robyn says, I was constantly putting out an olive branch and asking her, what can I do? And all she ever told me was, I'm just jealous of you. We really did have the potential to have a great relationship, and I never really understood why we couldn't. I just don't know how to come to terms with the heartbreak of it. And oh my gosh, there are actually wet spots on her eyes if you really zoom in. Robyn clearly has been working on her acting skills, and she's gotten much better. That GoFundMe we sent her for acting lessons has definitely paid off. Christine says in Vegas, during counseling sessions, Christine said she was very direct and said specifically that the problem between her and Robyn and Kody is that he prefers Robyn and prefers being in Robyn's house more than in anywhere else. And Robyn would just deny it and say, he's not here. And he'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm over at your house equally. And I was like, you're not. No, you're not. If it bothered her that she didn't have a relationship with me, she never spoke to me about it. But to be fair, I wouldn't have wanted a relationship with her because I couldn't trust her. So now we cut back to Janelle and Christine at Janelle's apartment. And Janelle says she just wants to live separately from Kody now, be amiable, and kind of see what happens. Is anyone else thinking are you paying attention to what's happening to Meri? Because that's essentially what Meri's been doing. She hasn't been creating any waves. She's just been hanging out, waiting for Kody to come back to her. So I think this is what prompts Christine to say. Christine asked if they're itemizing everything, and just because that's what she did. She set him down and said, are we ever going to have this again? And this again? And this again? And he's like, no, unless you become a better sister wife. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Janelle says, see, and I'm not playing with that. He has implied I need to be a better sister wife to Robyn. She's always the implied person. There was a conversation I had with Robyn a couple months before they bought the house they're in now, where I told her I was worried them buying that house was going to make it hard to pay off Coyote Pass. I wasn't mean. It wasn't confrontational. And then we cut to Robyn in her confessional, and Robyn says she was fighting with Kody and didn't want to buy that house either. And when she was arguing with him about it, she brought up what Janelle had said to her, trying to get Kody to listen to her and to the argument. In her confessional, Janelle says Kody started throwing out this conversation that she had with Robyn a year and a half before as ammunition that I was unreasonable and I was being pushy and I was being mean. And here he is somehow knowing about this conversation, and I'm like, oh, I see the way that this goes now. To Christine, Janelle says, I'm sorry, plural marriage doesn't require that you're always best friends with your sister wife. So if that's a requisite, then I know it's over. Christine says she was a great sister wife to Janelle. Meri, not so much. But I don't think he cares about Meri. He's basically saying, because you're not a best sister wife to Robyn, I'm not interested in having a relationship with you. Who had a great relationship with Robyn for years, yet he wasn't attracted to her? Oh yeah, that'd be Meri. He's full of I'm sorry. We cut to Kody, who says he wanted Christine to be better to everybody and about everybody. There was a lot of complaining about the whole experience in plural marriage, and somehow now she's morphed it into Robyn. It wasn't ever really about Robyn. It was about her whole experience in plural marriage with other wives. Sure, Kody, it's the fault of polygamy, not how you handled your favoritism and how you treated everyone. Okay, sure. Christine says she feels bad suggesting to Janelle to move to Utah and to live next door. She says Janelle still loves him. I don't know if I agree with that. I think Janelle is still committed to her values. I don't know that she still really is in love with Kody. I think she sees him for who he is, and he's really hard to love once you actually see who he is. Christine just thinks Kody is going to keep running circles around Robyn, and he doesn't have any room for Janelle in that life. Meri says Robyn has been asking her how Kody and Christine's relationship was through the years and what was she missing and what doesn't she understand. And Meri is like, Robyn, I don't understand either. Really, Meri? You don't understand being ignored and forgotten by your husband while he has a full intact marriage would be something you don't want to hang around for? Maybe if Meri hadn't started the emotional affair and threatened to leave the family, she wouldn't feel like she deserved the treatment and wouldn't accept it. But Christine didn't have an affair. So how do you not understand why she didn't want to hang out and be ignored? Robyn says, I want answers. I want to understand. I want to get it. But unless there's a deal breaker going on, like a real one, you can still figure it out. Robyn, who is so used to being able to control absolutely everything and everyone around her, doesn't understand how Christine is just doing what she wants. Robyn, you don't have to understand a thing. Christine can do whatever she wants. She doesn't need to get permission from you or anyone else to leave the situation. Meri finally says something, only if both parties want to, and they don't want to. And Robyn says, yeah, I guess so. Meri says she gets Robyn is trying to fix it and make it work. Oh, is that what Robyn's doing, Meri? I think she's feigning confusion to avoid responsibility, but okay. Meri continues, Robyn can't state what happens between Kody and Christine. They have made their decision. Robyn's belief of, unless there was a real deal breaker, that doesn't matter. What Robyn believes doesn't matter in this situation. Exactly. Yes, Meri. Robyn goes back to plural marriage being the problem again. Another person pointing to the lifestyle rather than the players as the issue. Robyn claims she's felt like certain people are more important to him than she and her kids. Robyn, no one believes this. Not even for a second. She says, I felt like he wasn't spending enough time at my house. When? For that month in Vegas? Robyn is saying all of this to Meri, who is being completely ignored, and she's agreeing with Robyn as if she and Robyn are being treated the same. I really wish Meri could say something to Robyn in this moment and basically say, Robyn, I'm sure time to time you've probably felt like you weren't getting the attention you wanted, but you're saying this to me, someone who you know has been ignored for years, and you're being really insensitive. You're complaining to me about what I am actually going through. That's just bonkers. It feels like we're in opposite land. Robyn says, yeah, so all the wives have felt this. Maybe this is just a plural marriage problem. Sure, Robyn, it's definitely just a plural marriage problem. It has nothing to do with Kody and how he handles plural marriage. Robyn is still on the case, though. She wishes she could convince Kody and Christine, but they're thinking just so skewed right now, and everything is bad. And she says, bad. Robyn says she's looking for, like, the truth, because she doesn't understand it. And then in her confessional, Robyn says, we all committed to this. That's tattooed into my soul. Didn't you also commit to your first husband and then you left that relationship? So how are you having such a hard time understanding someone else wanting to also leave their marriage as you did? Robyn continues, that's your family. You got to try to figure it out. Meri says, right, but it would take everybody's interest to figure it out. And I don't think they're interested in figuring it out. Robyn's really losing it. She's like, where did it go, Meri? Where did it go? What did it happen? Where does it go? I don't know. Where did it go? And Meri's like, Robyn, I don't know. I can't answer it for you. I don't understand, Meri. I don't understand. So what is the payoff for Robyn claiming to not understand the divorce? We know Christine has been really vocal this whole time. Christine mentioned in counseling 1,000,000 years ago that a major problem for her was Kody preferred spending time with Robyn. So if Robyn acknowledges what Christine said millions of years ago, she is somewhat admitting to being part of the problem. By denying she has any understanding, She also gives herself the role of innocent bystander. She can pretend that she didn't know there was a problem, and so she wasn't able to address it and couldn't be held responsible in any way for it if she just didn't even know about it. She can act as if she's innocent and not part of the reason that the marriage failed. She can act innocent in something happening rather than the person who benefited the most from this situation. Janelle says, the relationship with sister wives flourishes when a man can be equal with all of his wives, equal in financial resources, equal in time, as best as he can be to his ability. We're all human, right? She says, and especially when a husband has a place that he goes because it's easier, he's respected, that makes it very, very hard for the other sister wives to play on equal playing fields and to be open to relationships. Janelle is so good at saying succinctly and without any sort of accusatory emotion what essentially is happening. She's distilled it perfectly. Meri says she thinks it has to do with the kids getting older and the adults not needing one another as much and, moving away and doing their own thing. Robyn says, yep, but I'm not done. And Meri says to her, well, I'm still here. Why does Meri, who has been ignored and mistreated, feel the need to continually remind Robyn she's still here? Shouldn't Robyn be able to see that? It's like Robyn is so focused on herself and her sob story, she doesn't understand why complaining to Meri and essentially asking her to console her is such a selfish, heartless thing for Robyn to do. Meri says she has a lot of good memories from the time Janelle, Christine, and she were raising their kids together. The oldest kids feel like true siblings and have a bond Robyn's kids don't have. Meri says she wishes they could have pulled it together so Robyn's kids could have had that too. Meri says to her, the parents are the nucleus of the family, and the kids come and go, but it's us that are the true family. And Robyn says, yes, thank you. We need to be the nucleus. Meri says, but it's not that anymore. And Robyn says, it kills me. Robyn says they just had the holidays and the kids were separate. There was some interaction, but it wasn't that family experience. And then Robyn gives us another really good performance. Her acting is on point. And I don't care what anybody else is doing. They're not. There's just a cheap version of what our family was. I don't care who's getting together. I don't care how many presents you give, even if they're motorbikes. And I don't care how many special foods you make. It's a burrito that's French. Or how many fancy houses you rent. Or anything like that. It's a cheap version. It's a broken version. I'm not seeing tears in this one. But, she cried earlier, which was pretty good. Pretty impressive. Never seen that before. So her acting is getting better. It still has room for improvement. Kody says, we've been unwilling to change in the right ways to make this a functional family. Too many lines have been crossed. Too many times where I've given and I've given and I've given, and now I'm just sitting here saying, I've given too much and I don't want to give anymore. Him being able to deliver this line and not burst out laughing is incredible to me. Meri says she still sees the value to the big family, but she doesn't think everyone is interested or that it's possible to keep it going. Robyn still claims she needs to know why her family was blown to smithereens. Find a mirror, Robyn. Find a mirror. This horse is dead. Can we please stop beating it? I can't. Finally, we switch to Christine, who is planning a 50th birthday party. She talks about who she's going to invite and that she loves Kody's family. She doesn't feel right inviting them if she isn't inviting Kody, Robyn, and Meri. They decide on a 1950s theme and a dress-up party. The kids she still has contact with, she'll invite. Christine says the family events in the past were very tense, and she never really felt like a wife at those events. She felt more like a second-class citizen. Christine is excited to have a stress-free, fun party without all the tension. McKelty says, Dad's best friend, is he a yes for the party? Christine doesn't say anything. McKelty, your mom has just come out of a family where she didn't have much of a voice. I know you're just trying to help her, but man, step back a little bit. Let her be in charge. Let her lead. Stop trying to decide for her how she should handle things or whether she should say goodbye to the family or not goodbye to the family. She's really earned her position to make her own choices in her life. So I understand you're trying to help her, but my God, let her lead. And just be there to help with whatever she wants. But yeah, no, don't recommend your dad's best friend to go to her birthday party. What? Christine says she's looking forward to an uncomplicated birthday. Now we go to Meri, who's driving to her bed and breakfast in St. George, Utah. She announces she's going to move her clothing line into the B&B so she can have both businesses in the same location. It's been a year since her mom has passed, and she was the one who was running the bed and breakfast. Jen, Meri's friend, moved into the B&B and was running it for Meri for a while, but it stresses Meri out to not be around her business. We never found out anything about the services that Meri had for her mom, whether she did or didn't have services. We also don't know who went to any of these services. And I would like to know who actually ended up showing up for Meri. Meri says she's really nervous to talk to Robyn about moving to the B&B because she knows that Robyn is the only one who will even care. And Robyn has been begging Meri to stay and to not leave. Meri says she isn't moving away, she isn't leaving Flagstaff. She'll still come back, but she needs to focus on both of her businesses and they need to be in the same location. We don't know if Meri is using the business as an excuse, as a way of leaving the situation and getting away without creating conflict. And hey, if that's what she needs to get distance between her, Robyn, and Kody, I am all for it. I am totally okay with her saying, hey, I got a business over there I need to go take care of. And both of my businesses need to be in the same place, so I'm just going to move over there. I'm happy she has this excuse. It gives her a way out that's non-confrontational. And once she's not living in the same city, I think it's going to be much harder to manipulate how she sees the situation. I think she will have a lot of clarity after moving away. So I'm very excited that she's leaving. Janelle says it's really sad to see how Kody has treated Meri. He doesn't speak very kindly to her, and he doesn't really look out for her. Kody says he always holds out hope something can be fixed. But with Christine, she was complaining about Pearl marriage for 15 years, and then she just left. And they never went to counseling or anything to fix it. But with Meri, we've had the time to know this is not going to work. It's just not a leave. Meri says she's not oblivious to the fact that Kody has had conversations about her, and he's been pretty direct in his non-interest of healing a relationship, but he has not said those things directly to her. Meri says she doesn't think it's fair to make any decisions about their relationship without the two of them having that conversation. I think Meri has finally seen season 16 and the horrible things he said in that season. And she can't deny to herself what is actually going on anymore and how Kody actually feels about her. I can't imagine sitting on my couch and watching on national television my husband saying what he said about her. Whoa. That's just really cruel. That's just a whole other level. No matter who you're with, show them respect. If you don't want to be with them, you can break up with them. People can handle that. People can move on. People can have a great life after you. Let them go have that. But I guess then you have to care about people. And he does not care about anybody but himself. We cut to Christine, who says she has seen Kody string Meri along for years. And it was mean and cruel. And I saw that he would have done the same thing to me if I would have stayed. I completely agree with her. I think he would do that to Christine if she was to stay. And I think he will do the same exact thing to Janelle as well. I am so freaking relieved that we know that these women have left. Thank goodness. Because watching this show and not knowing that would have been too much. It's really hard to watch this show. It bums me out big time. And on that happy, uplifting note, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please take a second to like it. If you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It makes a huge difference on my end, and it doesn't cost you a thing. Until next week, have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.